Hey everybody. Apologize for keeping everybody well. Wow. Wizza wada, weeda wada. It's not even Wednesday. It's not even the W Wednesdays. It's a Monday. It's Mash Your Words Up Monday. Happy Monday. Hopefully it's Monday for you. Wherever you are, whenever you are, welcome to Slay Cert Plus. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy. And the goal of this live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it, study tool, is to help you pass your CompTIA certifications. Well, in this case, your CISA Plus, your Security Plus, and other certifications with ease the first time using industry top tier study resources, study guides, practice tests, performance-based questions, exam strategies, so on and so forth. I think you get the picture. It's in a community-driven environment and it's totally free. We bring it to you here almost each and every day unless I'm going absolutely crazy. And so that's what we do here at Slay Cert Plus. It's a community-driven mission for people just like you and just like myself. Agent 57 is the first one in chat. Good to see you. I'm not sure who else is going to join us. We normally join at 12 o'clock or I guess it's 4 o'clock Eastern. We normally stream at 2 p.m. Eastern, but I was occupied with work. And so here we are now today. Let's get into it. I want to get right into the studying because we only have about a power 30 today. I want to start off by thanking our session sponsor, the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, your morning threat brief, live, daily, and practical. It's live with Dr. Jerry Ozier every weekday at 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern for 60 minutes. 6 to 8 stories. Listen, this is expert analysis on what matters most in the cybersecurity industry. It's built for analysts, threat hunters, and CISOs. Or you trying to break into the industry, level up in your career. Take it from me, take it from Dr. Gerald Ozier, 25 years plus of cybersecurity experience spanning across multiple sectors. Check us out every single weekday, 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern. Go ahead and click that link that is pinned in chat if you have any questions, and you can go there and check it out. Super proud to be a part of that community. And thank you for that sponsorship. Hey, Muhammad Wali Mumin, good to see you, buddy. It's been a minute. Let's do our pocket prep. I haven't logged in. I think we lost our streak because anybody interested in pocket prep? You'll save 20%. All right, let's answer our question of the day, and then we'll get right into the CompTIA practice questions. We might work through a PBQ today live. Let's see how it feels. The director of IT at Acme Inc. publishes a document that details mandatory requirements for commissioning and configuring Cisco routers. This is an example of what type of document: a procedure, a policy, a best practice, or a standard. The director of IT at Acme Inc. publishes a document, that details mandatory security requirements for commissioning and configuring Cisco routers. This is an example of what type of requirement: A, procedure, B, policy, C, best practice, or is it D, a standard? Put whatever answer you think it is in chat and let's chat about it. I'm on one. I had a Red Bull this morning because I didn't have coffee made because I was running late. It's this. What edition is it? The Amber edition. It's pretty good. Not much of an energy drink guy these days, but when I do. Muhammad, well, it depends on what your goals are. If you want to do when you say what should you do next versus Network Plus or CISA. The Network Plus is for people that want to work in networking, building switching, routing, infrastructure. The CISA Plus is aimed at folks who have been or are looking to work in a security operations center or as a security analyst, IT security analyst, cybersecurity analyst, specialist, anybody that's going to be responding to incidents in their environment, whether it's for an actual SOC or as a Lone Ranger. The CISA Plus is for them. So I'm taking the CISA Plus because I work in security operations, and I think it'd be a good certification to have. I know that my employer likes to see that we're staying certified in certain things. That's why I do it. Let's go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We got a success story. So to answer your question, Mohammed, I would do the CISA Plus to be a security analyst, and I would probably do the Network Plus if I was going to work in networking. Let's go. A student that's been kind of hanging out with me since I started, which was only a couple weeks back, but he's been studying for a while. Sebastian Antonio, 1016. Hey, Jesse, I passed the CISA Plus today. Whoop, 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 whoop. LFG, bro. Let's go. That's what I love to hear. It's success stories like that make this worth it. Whether we had an effect or not, we hope that if you're landing here and you're studying for your CISA Plus, Microsoft certifications, maybe your CISSP, that you'd find value, tell friends about it, spread the word, and they can study. Awesome. Love to see it. After you got certified with Sec Plus, yeah, if you got Sec Plus, I would not worry about Network Plus. You might... Uh-oh. Check one. I think we lost audio. Check one. Check. Mac OS. Oh. There we go. We're back. Woo! That scared me for a second. So yeah, I would learn the Network Plus information. Make sure you understand it. But if you're looking to get a certification, I would look at getting the CISA Plus if you already got the Sec Plus. Or just do home labs, like we always talk about. Understand incident response procedures. Do what you got to do to get that hands-on experience. All right, what are we going with? Pirate Kitty is going with B. This is a policy. Remember, going back to our question of the day, brought to you by Pocket Prep. The director of IT at Acme publishes a document that details mandatory security requirements for commissioning and decommissioning Cisco routers. Pirate Kitty wants us to go with a policy. I hear requirements and policy. Anybody else? Anybody else think of a different answer? I'm not sure. This kind of covers a few things in my head. Is it a procedure? Mandatory security requirements. So it's either a standard, a best practice. I'm going to go with the class. The class says B. I think in my heart it might be a standard, but we'll see. I might be wrong. I'm wrong all the time in my life. Correct answer was a standard. Okay. A standard provides mandatory requirements for how an organization executes a policy. Operating system configuration requirements are an example of a standard. A policy is a high-level statement that describes management's intent. Compliance with a policy is in organizations typically is mandatory. Acceptable use policy, time off policy, harassment policy, violence in the workplace policy. A procedure is a step-by-step process that is to be followed in the specific case, right? Now, if it said, this is how you do it, lining out each step to configure the Cisco router, that would be a procedure. And then guidelines are best practices and recommendations for a given topic. All right, let's jump into, you know what I want to do today? Oh, let's not do that. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. How's your Monday going? I'm going to navigate the web over here. Drop in chat how your Monday's doing while I pull this up. You got to excuse the goofiness. Like I said, I've been going. I don't like this one bit. I don't like this one bit. CompTIA changed its website. Mustard and biscuits. I guess I'll take the mustard and biscuit. Where's the CompTIA unified login? Excuse me, folks. Sorry about all this. This is unusual. There we go. We've been in domain 1, so let's stay in domain 1. There's no reason to change it if it's already working well. Let's stay in domain 1. I do want to switch it up just a little bit, and let's check out, do they give us a PBQ in this bad boy? Domain 1 summary. There was an assessment there. Let's look. I'm looking for like a PBQ. I want to get crazy. I want to do something I haven't done yet. Have we done this one? Performing threat intelligence. What you're about to see here on the screen is an example of CompTIA's performance-based questions. When you take your Security Plus or your CISA Plus or various other CompTIA certifications, you're going to get what's called a performance-based question. It's basically a practical or a hands-on question that gives you a chance to answer it in a different way besides multiple choice. Its intent is to show a hands-on style of thinking, practical application. How do you apply it? Really, you can think of the performance-based questions as glorified multiple choice. And what I mean by that is this. Let's make this maybe just a little bit larger. So they're going to give you a scenario. You're going to read the scenario, and then you're going to be given a choice of certain things. It might be a drag and drop menu. It might be something like this, which these are drop-down selectors. We will see various performance-based questions as we go through Slay Cert Plus, especially around the CISA Plus. So we see there's some things. Let's read the scenario and see what it's asking us. Starting here at the top. A medium-sized financial company recently experienced a successful, experienced a successful phishing attack that led to a data breach. The attack began when a threat actor sending a well-crafted phishing email to several employees, appearing to come from a trusted source. The email contained a malicious attachment. Once opened, downloaded malware onto the victim's computer. Okay, so we've got a threat actor that sent well-crafted phishing emails to several employees, and they're appearing to come from somebody we trust. We're working for a company, financial, medium-sized bank. We opened it, or somebody opened it. We're the analyst. We didn't open it. Somebody on the team opened it and downloaded malware on the victim's computer. The attacker was able to escalate their privileges on the compromised system by exploiting an unpatched vulnerability. They used evasion techniques to avoid detection, deploying endpoint protection and network analysis to hide their tracks. The threat actor established a command and control communication using the company's unsegmented network and weak firewall rules, which allowed them to remotely control the compromised system and exfiltrate or take out the sensitive data. So they were able to own this environment. To maintain persistence, the attacker leveraged several security patch mismanagement and bypassed single-factor authentication. They also performed lateral movement within the network, compromising additional systems by exploiting the lack of network segmentation and insufficient intrusion detection systems in place. Wow. Okay. So we are getting this scenario. It doesn't really ask us anything to do in this scenario. It just tells us this medium-sized company was fully owned by these threat actors. It tells us how they were able to navigate through the environment, where they started, how they were able to escalate their privileges, started with a phishing email, downloaded malware. We're going to look at performing threat intelligence. That's what it's asking us to do. Based on the scenario, use the drop-down selectors to select the best option to analyze the threat incident, conduct threat hunting, and harden the network against threat vectors. Okay. Right, FedEx? They do deserve to be compromised. It's bad, bro. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the party. Welcome back to the party, I should say. Let's get this first question. To prevent threat actors from gaining initial access through phishing, organizations can implement, let's see if it'll show them, it does, SPF, DMARC, or multi-factor authentication to authenticate email sources. So the first part of the initial access is to prevent threat actors from gaining initial access through phishing. Organizations can implement what to authenticate email sources? Is it SPF or DMARC? Remember, multi-factor authentication is not one of the options that I think is a good, satisfies the question. We're trying to authenticate email sources. We're not trying to authenticate a person's identity. FedEx is going with DMARC. What do you think, Agent 57, Pirate Kitty? Is it SPF or DMARC? Remember, SPF has to do with, what is it, Sender Preferred Framework? Sender Policy Framework. Okay. He's going with DMARC. We'll see if it's DMARC. We'll send it. In addition, they can use to prevent authorized use of their domain, a DNS sinkhole, a DMARC, or SSL certificates. Agent 57, isn't that the truth? You think DMARC, but you only read the question once. That's all right. It's still up there. So you think the first part, Agent 57, is DMARC, not SPF? Yeah. I think it's like this. I think organizations can implement SPF to authenticate email sources. In addition, they can use DMARC to prevent unauthorized use of their domain. What is it? Domain marcation. And conformance. Domain-based message authentication reporting conformance is an email security protocol that verifies sender's identity. It stops fraudsters from spoofing your domain and ensures your legitimate emails are delivered. And that's what the question is asking us, to prevent unauthorized use of their domain, which satisfies DMARC. So let's roll with that one. All right, so that was the initial access. Then number two, the next part of the cyber kill chain here is the execution. How do they execute their weaponized payload here? To stop the execution of malicious attachments and phishing emails, organizations can use what systems to identify and isolate suspicious content? A, email quarantine. B, malware filtering. Or C, sandboxing. So sandboxing is incorrect. So now we are left with two possible solutions. Is it email quarantine or malware filtering? To stop the execution of malicious attachments in phishing emails, organizations can use malware filtering systems to identify and isolate suspicious content. Or is it to stop the execution of malicious attachment in phishing emails, organizations can use email quarantine systems to identify and isolate suspicious content? Boxing with sand. So sandboxing. Hey, Miss Wolverine, welcome back to the party. Good to see you. Agent 57 says sandboxing. The reason I don't think sandboxing is the answer we're looking for, and this is how my brain is processing this, is sandboxing is a way to analyze and detonate malware or suspicious attachments, anything you think suspicious in a virtualized environment, basically, in a way that won't damage your host system or compromise the business. It's in a sandbox. So if we want to quarantine and isolate the email before anybody even gets it, malware filtering is important. But what if it filters out the malware, but the email still goes through? Let's just say, right? I think the question, what they're looking for is, we want to use email quarantine systems to identify and isolate suspicious content. See? And then for the malicious links, we can deploy URL rewriting, internet restrictions, or DNS filtering to rewrite URLs and protect users from accessing harmful websites. Well, the question says rewriting right there in the question. It says rewriting. I've never heard of URL rewriting. They probably just mean URL redirection. That's what I'm guessing is for malicious links. They can deploy URL redirection to rewrite URLs and protect users from accessing harmful links. This rewrite the URL part is what, like, or is it DNS filtering? It's probably DNS filtering to rewrite URLs and protect users. I bet it's DNS filtering because I've never heard of URL rewriting. I don't know if you have. I've heard of DNS filtering. Let's rip a quick Goog just to make sure I'm not crazy. Oh, I guess it is. A rewrite occurs silently on the server before processing. A redirect tells the... Oh, okay, so I thought it was more of a redirect. I'm talking about then it would be URL rewriting. No, but DNS filtering might see that it's trying to go to a bad domain and redirect it to a good one. I'm going to try URL rewriting because it's in the options, and we'll see if that gives it to us. 3, privilege escalation. To mitigate the risk of privilege escalation, in case of a successful phishing attack, organizations can enforce what to limit users' access to sensitive information. A, principle of least privilege. B, role-based access controls. Or D, network segmentation. All right, so as I think through this one, network segmentation. Yeah, going back, Miss, we'll run into the one. It does specifically say rewrite URL, so we're going to stick with that answer. Moving on to this next question, to mitigate the risk of privilege escalation in case of a successful phishing attack, organizations can enforce which of these? Principle of least privilege, RBAC, or role-based access controls, or network segmentation. If I'm seeing this question on a CISA Plus Saturday morning taking the exam, I am not going with network segmentation because this is not asking how can we limit a user or a system or an application's ability to communicate with other systems on the network. It's saying how can we limit the user's access. 2 of the ways we can do that is the principle of least privilege or with role-based access controls, meaning you can only access information depending on what your role is. But the problem, which is really similar to principle of least privilege, you're only given enough to do what you need to do and no more. So is it A, least privilege, or role-based access controls? They should also regularly review what to ensure access rights are up to date. Access controls. Agreed. Organizations can enforce principle of least privilege. I'm going to go with RBAC on this one. I'm going to see what RBAC does for us. Role-based access control. Only because the question is asking us to enforce what to limit users' access to sensitive information. And let's say a person gets phished that doesn't have... If a person that gets phished... So this is the way I think of it. If a person that gets phished that has access to the sensitive information, it wouldn't matter if they were using the principle of least privilege or role-based. If that user already has access because they're a super user for whatever reason, that's what their role entails, or because, that's what their role entails, then I feel like they're going to be owned either way. if we enforce least privilege and they're phished, okay, I'm going to go with that for now. We're going to go with rollback, RBAC. I'm going to stay there, even if I'm wrong. Evasion. To counter evasion techniques used by attackers, organizations can deploy what solutions to detect and respond to malicious activities in real time? IDS, endpoint protection, or antivirus software? They can also implement what to monitor network traffic and detect unusual patterns? They can also implement what to monitor network traffic and detect any unusual patterns? A, network analysis, B, traffic filtering, or C, user behavior analytics? You are right. IDS by itself doesn't respond. EDR does. We'll try EDR. I saw that too. Behavioral to... So we're torn. Pirate Kitty is thinking maybe FedEx is going with Yuba as well, or user behavior analytics. Will all network analysis cover both? Will network analysis cover both? No, because the network analysis would detect any unusual patterns in the traffic, but it doesn't necessarily... See, when I think of user behavior analytics, I think of a user... Let's say you work for a financial company and all of a sudden one of your accounting people is accessing some of the, I don't know, intellectual property in one of the databases. That's unusual to me. Unusual behavior, user behavior, not network, like what's going on the network. So I think more network analysis or traffic filtering. I'm gonna go with network analysis. C2. Command and control. To disrupt command and control communication between the compromised system and the attacker, organizations can implement what to monitor network traffic? Network segmentation, IPS, or traffic inspection? Traffic inspection. We can see what the packets are, where they're going to, who they're coming from. Additionally, they can apply what to restrict communication channels used by the attacker? Firewall rules. Right? Because that'll restrict services, the ports, from being communicated with. And how do I think through this one? Persistence and lateral movement. To eliminate persistence mechanisms used by attackers, organizations can regularly update their what to fix known vulnerabilities? Security patches, software updates, or threat intelligence? Update their software updates. Update their security patches to fix known vulnerabilities. They can also deploy what to ensure that access to sensitive data requires additional authentication, multi-factor authentication. And then finally, impair process controls and inhibit response functions. To hinder lateral movement within the network, organizations can enforce what to control the flow of data between systems? Network segmentations, access control lists, or firewall? I'm going to go with network segmentation because it's one that really hasn't been covered. Oh, you got to patch it! Yep. They can also use what to monitor for suspicious activities across the network. IDS, a SIM, or user and entity behavior analytics. I think that's our IDS. Let's just send it. Let's pretend we're on a Saturday morning. We're pressed for time. We've answered it to the best of our abilities. We're going to send it. We're going to remember that CompTIA gives you partial credit for the ones that you get, but you don't get doinked for the ones you don't. Let's send it and see how we do. It's an opportunity to learn for all of us. 12 out of 14. All right, I'll take that. Which ones did we get incorrect? We got the rollback one, which should have been principle of least privilege. So whoever you said that was good. I think that was Miss Wolverine. Or maybe it was Pirate Kitty. But you guys all said privilege of least privilege, and I got that one wrong. So that's my fault. And then to disrupt command and control communications between the compromised system and organizations, they can implement network segmentation and firewall rules. So that should have been network segmentation as well. Really? Number 5? Okay. And then we got the other ones correct. Yay! So that is what a CompTIA, that's an example of what the performance-based questions look like. We'll do more of the performance-based questions. I know people like to see what those are all about. All right, that is our power 30 of going through some CySA Plus material. I'll be back tomorrow going over his regular practice questions, so make sure you hang out. The goal is to be around 2 o'clock Eastern time, between 12 and 2 o'clock Eastern time, depending on how my workday goes. But I'm going to run. I'm going to grab some food, hit the gym, and then clock back in and continue the rest of my shift. I hope all of you have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you for the daily cyber threat brief at 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Until we hang out next time, take care of each other and do your best to stay secure. See ya! Peace! Oh, wait, going back. I haven't added to the stream. Hold on. Miss Wolverine said, network segmentation doesn't monitor network traffic, I guess, because the traffic is easier to monitor when segmented. Yeah, that part bothered me a little bit. I think that's part of the question I did not agree with. So we'll review that maybe a little bit more tomorrow, or just take it for what it is and say, hey, we did a good job, 12 out of 14, and one bad question. Anyways, we'll see you folks. Be well. Bye.